exemption to threats, which says because of the nature of their profession, there are natural threats around them. So,
sabi mo na pag nagbago ang Chief PNP, binabago yung IRR.
Opo.
Yung sa akin, pagbabago lang, nagawa ko nun yung pagbawal nga yung long firearms. Yung order ng Malacanang, order ng Presidente. May pulis nandun sa loob, nanginita ng mga appeals. Anyway, it's your job. It's your job. Pero sana, parang hindi tayo lalabas na killjoy. Pumunta ng mga bumiyahe yan. Galing sa Baguio, galing sa Albay, galing sa kung saan lugar. Pumunta sa Arms Corps para mag-join ng competition. Pagdating doon, hanapan ng mga papilis nung mga taga CSGPO.
however, as the Chief Security Officer, I am not exempted. So again, sir, may I ask if possible that the exemption to threats, which says because of the nature of their profession, there are natural threats around them. So maybe let's review that, especially for us. Most of those who have come from the AFP and the PNP are now working in the private security industry. Maybe we could look at that, sir. And we are here, these suggestions are avenues to find a middle ground between the FEO and the stakeholders. We are not against you. Maybe we are just here to at least give our positions so that we could go to a collective agreement wherein it benefits everyone, not only the legal gun owners, but the country as well, because of the ongoing security situation right now, which is not going away soon. Nabanggit natin, full pack ang sundalo, talo na ng civilian yung full pack ng sundalo. Well, during times of peace, hindi naman namin dadalhin palagi yung 5,000 rounds araw-araw. Or 500 rounds araw-araw, sir. Tanda lang sa bayan para hindi kami pabalik-balik sa gun store pag gusto namin mag-practice. Bili na naman ako, pabalik sa bahay, bili na naman po ako. Tandaan po natin, sir, kaibigan niyo po kami. In case of war, Army Reservist din po ako. Magkakasama po tayo pag may nangyari. However, I've submitted already my position paper and I will not go through each one by one. I hope the good senator would have time to look at it. And thank you, Mr. Chair, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Ed Baliwan. Very, very clear yung mga punto na sinabi mo. Very valid. Sir, pakinggan ko lang muna si Mr. Velasquez. Tebes. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, you have the floor.
Mr. Chair, good morning po. Good morning po sa lahat. Ako po si Mr. Paul Tebes. Kilala po sa YouTube and Facebook. Isa po akong firearm vloggers, pistolerong Pinoy po. Itong sasabihin ko po, consultation po ito na gustong iparating ng mga ordinary gun owners, ordinary gun enthusiasts na gaya ko po. Isa lang simple po akong gun owner. Okay, ito po yung mga punto na gusto po niyo lang iparating po sa inyo. Sorry po, medyo nanginginig, malamig ko kasi. Okay, number one punto po, yung validity daw po ng permit to carry, kasi sa ngayon po, 2 taon lamang po, no? Ang request lang po nila, kung pwede daw gawin po nating 5 years. Kung mag-i-increase po tayo ng mga prices, wag naman po sana masyadong mataas kasi lumalabas ngayon sa 2 years, double the price eh. Naging 12,000 na yata po eh, no? Karamihan sa mga ordinary gun owners eh, hindi naman maraming pera. Ordinary lang naman po mga gun owners. Kaya sana po, yung request po natin, mga taga-PNP, kumusta po sa inyo? 5 years po lang ang request namin para hindi na ako pabalik-balik sa cramming. And number 2 po, yung streamlining ng requirement para sa PTC, FOR. Sa ngayon kasi pahirapan eh. Yung lalo na yung nagpapahirap doon, yung threat assessment. Although meron siyang exemption, gaya po na sabi ni Ginoong Edbar, selective po yung mga exemptions, mga exempted. Ang request po ng gun community, kung pwede po daw, ay tanggalin na lamang po yung threat assessment sa isa sa mga requirements. Anyway, nag-undergo naman po kami ng neuro, nag-undergo naman po kami ng drug test. So, there's no use para sa threat assessment. Parang kasing, sir, with all due respect, parang wala po kayong tiwala sa mga responsible gun owners. Eh, yun po kasi ang tingin namin eh. Hindi po sa akin, sa mga gun community, nag-undergo po kami ng maraming mga requirements, pero it seems na hanggang sa ngayon wala po kayong tiwala sa mga legal gun owners. Okay. Number 3 po, kung po pwede po, request din po nila ay i-reinstate yung 3 months validity ng permit to transport. Dati po kasi, lumalabas, matanda na ako, no? Pero dati po kasi meron kaming nakukuha na permit to transport good for 3 months. And I think it's only 350. Okay? And yung PTT, ano pa nga yun eh, valid sa any PNP accredited ranges. Kung pwede po, ibalik po sana ninyo, request po namin yun. Sa ngayon kasi, I think the gentleman...
Sandali, nawala ba yan? Nawala?
Opo, nawala po yun eh. Ang permit to carry, ang permit to transport po ngayon lumalabas good for 1 day.
Ha?
Yes po. Yes po.
1 day?
Yes po. And kamalasan po kapag hindi natuloy yung shoot, halimbawa umulan, sayang po yung PTT na binayaran po ninyo. Gentlemen, I think you will all agree with me. Okay?
1 day na lang. 1 day yung permit to transport, 1 day?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
a maximum of 15 days depende sa destination.
Okay. So, pwede na sabihin, sir, baka pwedeng 1 week yan.
Mr. Chair.
Or talagang pinix ninyo at 1 day. 1 day lang.
No, Mr. Chair, we did not fix to 1 day. Depende ka sa destination. From point of origin, papunta sa destination.
Oh. Hindi pa tapos. Rick, tapusin muna natin. Patapusin natin si...
If I may continue, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, pero sana po ang request po nila yung PTT na 3 months valid to all PNP accredited ranges. Okay? And number 4, ito yung kanina pang pinag-uusapan yung nare-restrict po yung civilians for owning 5.56 and 7.62 millimeter rifles. Okay? Under the law, under the RA 10591, allowed naman po talaga tayo na mag-own, di ba po? And gaya po na sinabi ng gentleman kanina, what if magkagulo po tayo? Huwag naman sana po magkagera dito sa Pilipinas. Ayaw ko rin po yun, mahirap po yun. Paano kami makakapag-as a force multiplier? Pwede po kami maging force multiplier. Paano po kami magiging force multiplier kung hindi namin madadala sa ranges yung aming rifle at mag-practice? Okay? Pag nagkagulo, pumutok ang gulo, pumutok ang gera. Anong gagawin namin doon sa rifle namin? Display? Di-display lang namin. Paano namin magagamit kung hindi kami pupunta sa ranges at mag-practice? Okay? Sana po nakikita po ninyo yung point namin. Okay? And with all due respect sa PNP, pwede po kami maging force multiplier. Hindi po kami ang kalaban ninyo, ang mga responsible gun owners. Okay? Kaalyado po ninyo kami. Lahat po ng mga batas, legal laws, sumusunod po kami. And ito pa yun, ito yung famous sa vlog ko. Ito yung talagang maraming nagre-request. Yung mode of carry. Kasi nakalagay sa must be concealed. Dati may gray area po ito Ngayon, may lumabas na IRR ang PNP which prohibits inside the waistband carry, IWB carry. Pinagbawal po nila yun. Dapat nakalagay sa bag, sa case, mga ganon. And kung maintindihan po ninyo, ang mga kriminal nakabunot na yan naka-inside the waistband yan And sa pag-aaral din po namin sa gun community, mas mabagal ang drawing time pag nasa bag compared sa IWB carry. Dati kasi nakalagay sa permit to carry, must be concealed. And pwede pinapayagan pa yung IWB. Ngayon, inalis na nila yung restrictions. Pinagbawal na po nila yung IWB carry. Kung sana po, i-allow na naman po ninyo yung IWB carry as long as concealed, hindi nag-preprint. Okay, number 6, yung issuance of permit to transport ng 5.56. Okay, yun na rin yun eh. Yung sinasabi ko sana mai-allow dun sa na mai-transport yung 5.56 rifles para sa training ng civilians. Tapos yung number 7, ito yung isa rin sa mga popular. Bakit, sir, with all due respect sa PNP, kasi kung sino daw yung na-appoint na chief PNP, nababago daw po yung IRR. Whereas doon sa batas, ito na yun eh, matibay, sementado na eh. Ito na yung batas. Okay? Pag may umupong bagong chief PNP, nawawala eh, medyo nalilihis. Kumbaga sa barko eh, inaalon po. Okay? Nakukontra minsan yung batas, gaya po ng 5.56 rifles sa Republic Act 10591, which is allowed pero restricted pagdating sa utos po ng chief PNP. Okay. Marami pong salamat, Mr. Chair, sa pagbibigay po ng pagkakataon para marinig po yung mga ordinaryong gun owners po. Marami pong salamat. And good morning po sa inyo lahat.
Thank you. Maraming salamat. And yung sabi mo na pag nagbago ang chief PNP, binabago yung IRR.
Opo.
Yung sa akin, pagbabago lang, nagawa ko noon yung pagbawal nga yung long firearms. Yung order ng Malacanang, order ng Presidente. Nagira sa Marawi.
Executive order po kasi ito.
Nakita kasi na may mga armas na galing sa hawak ng mga rebelde ng mga ano yung kalaban natin?
Maute po.
Maute. Hawak ng mga maute galing sa mga gumagawa ng armas natin. Local kaya pinahinto yun ni Presidente. But anyway nga, wala namang problema, wala namang Marawi. Mas dapat nga natin i-armasan yung mga responsible gun owners dahil nga sa impending threat na nakikita natin ngayon. Hindi natin alam what will happen next. Si Arik mo na.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
going back to the point of Mr. Edwin Lim, with regards to the restrictions of the rifles being proposed now, before the ban or the suspension was implemented, there are no restrictions. No restrictions on barrel length, no restrictions on scopes, no restriction ammo capacity. Why all of a sudden, when we're deciding to lift the suspension, all of a sudden we're restricted to 16-inch and below? And at the same time, Mr. Chair, going back to the point na there's a clamor for the PNP to follow the law, to follow the IRR. It is not written in the law that we're restricted by barrel length. It is not written in the law that we're restricted by ammo capacity, what kind of ammo, ilang grains yung gamit namin, sniper rifle ba to. As long as it's semi-automatic, as long as it's a small arm, it is allowed. So, with your assistance, Mr. Chair, if we can request these proposals by the PNP further restricting yung mga civilians natin to own these rifles should altogether hindi na ma-implement. Let's just bring it back to how the law was originally put. Walang restriction. As long as it's the only restriction you have is your classification in your LTAP and the amount of money you can spend buying a firearm. That's the only restriction you have.
Okay, thank you. The PNP is listening right now. Edgar, tingnan niyo yung mga adjustments na gagawin ninyo para pagdating sa budget hearing, hindi natin magkawa ng smooth sailing na tayo. Ha? Sigurado ko yan mo, si SP, magtatanong yan sa budget hearing, si Senator Mig Subiri, magtatanong yan, yung mga nandito kanina, magtatanong yan. So, you make the necessary adjustments. Lalo na yun sa 5.56 yung anabap na ibinawal natin.
Mr. Chairman, Just a couple of more points that I forgot to say earlier when I was speaking. Number one, going back to 22LR that Mr. Rico was talking about, that people are restricted to going to buy 50 rounds and all of that. The Philippines signed the Arms Trade Treaty, which actually states and supersedes 10591, stating that 22LR is a non-restrictive item for any country on that part of the Arms Trade Treaty. So actually, superseding 10591, there should be no restrictions on 22LR. It's not considered a firearm by the rest of the world, including us, because we signed that treaty. It passed this Senate. I was opposed to that, but never mind. That's neither here nor there. It was signed, and we have agreed to that. So we are actually, as a country, we are in violation of our own treaties with other nations. Second is the manufacturer's license going all the way up to the SILG office. We believe that at worst, to improve ease of doing business to follow that law, it should only go up to the chief PNP. And delegation of authority from the chief PNP to maybe the FEO or CSG level, so that we can follow ease of doing business, because going all the way, no chief should be signing permits. I think that they are the chief law enforcement officer of our nation. They have bigger problems than a stack of papers to sign on behalf of all the people importing or manufacturing or doing everything to that issue. I think it should be no higher than the chief PNP. Mr. Angco suggesting that the SILG can delegate authority as well as a compromise for the licensing to go down to the chief PNP. But I think that still would be difficult for a chief PNP, as you're aware, as being a chief yourself, the stacks and stacks of papers, or as your friends, your other friends who have been chief PNPs with their boxes. They came in boxes, according to Oka. With all the boxes he had to sign before his day got started. I don't think it should be the job of the chief PNP. I think he should delegate it to a lower officer to be able to do that. It would definitely help with ease of doing business by moving that along. And we have to clearly define that in 10591 as one of the amendments. Yes, sometimes the delegation of authority is forgotten, according to ARIC, and that's true. So we should really clearly define that into the amendments for 10591. The other thing is gun bans. Gun bans by the COMELEC, it's part of a law. But the PNP has been making gun bans arbitrarily whenever they feel like it. Sometimes a one-star is making a gun ban. I think that gun bans should be issued by the president in times of emergency, right? Which I've stated before, which is what 10591 is. So the PNP has been violating the law. I don't think a SONA is a national emergency that warrants a gun ban. It's a gun ban of law-abiding citizens. We're not going to go to the SONA carrying our guns. In a district where maybe a heinous crime has been committed by illegal firearms, then the law-abiding citizen is prevented from carrying their firearms. I don't understand where it stems from. Why are, in my mind, when they issue out a gun ban to a law-abiding citizen, it's basically calling us criminals. So I take great offense to being called a criminal, because I've done nothing but follow the law my whole entire life. And I think that the mindset of the PNP has to be, we are the force multiplier, like everybody said here, but we also aren't criminals. That's the whole point of doing this. We'll follow the laws. On one other thing that I would like to have included is PTC-4. You're right. Some chiefs say you can carry it inside the waist. Some chiefs you can't, right? Some chief looks at somebody whose gun was showing behind the shirt, didn't even draw the firearm, and all of a sudden you can't do PTC-4s anymore. Let's clearly define that in the law, making the requirements the same as the LTOP. If you qualify for an LTOP, you should qualify for a PTC-4 because not everybody uses the PTC-4 for their own defense and protection. Sometimes it's just for convenience to be able to go back and forth from the shooting range, go to and from their beach house, or their mountain residence, or to go to the province where they have their farms. And so people need to, the threat assessment is that there's always a threat to your life. The assumption is that you can be robbed at any moment. You can be threatened any moment. You don't have to be a businessman or a security personnel or a politician. We have the right to life. We have the right to defend ourselves. And so instead of putting the threat assessment there, just have, if you're qualified to have an LTOP and to own a firearm, you should be qualified to carry a gun. I'm not opposed to training requirements. But that's in my own self-interest because I sell ammunition. So I would like there to be training requirements placed in there. But I'm not going to say that that I think that every gun owner should be a responsible gun owner. They should go to the range and train. But it's so difficult to go to the range. 7-day PTTs, even 15 days. You have to keep on applying. I also think that there's different ways. PTT should be able to be filed online. Avoid the lines at Crame or at any other police station. It's a PTT. You're already a legal firearm holder, right? We're not going to say that we're the United States where you can just put the gun in your car and go to the range. Fine. I concede that this is a different country. Even though in the U.S., I can go show no concealed weapons license and buy a gun over the counter and walk out of it in 25 minutes or less. It's as fast as a credit card machine processes. But here, we've grown accustomed to all the restrictions, which is okay. We can live with restrictions. It needs to just be reasonable restrictions because we are not the criminals. We will follow the law, whatever the law is, for better or for worse, right? Everybody here will end up following it because we're law-abiding. So why does it have to be for worse? Let's make sure that these amendments cover every single spot. It has to be a cut, copy, and paste into the IRRs because we talk about the IRRs changing, but you cannot change an IRR if it's clearly stated in the law. Then it becomes a violation in the IRRs. So every line item, every section of 10591 has to be clearly defined, so that there's no interpretation anymore by any chief PNP, by anybody with a 1 star that can interpret it or something like that. It's we're not the problem. I'm going to say it every time. We're never the problem, and these are the fine points that I think everybody's hinted on or touched on in detail, and they should be put on paper. And hopefully, Mr. Chair, you can add that in the committee report and be in favor of that to go forward with all these additions that everybody has made, and then hopefully your colleagues in the other house will also agree with these with this committee. As you are the first, by the way, nobody else has had a committee hearing. And we thank you very much. I really, truly thank you for at least hearing all of our statements and opening this up. You are a true ally of the gun owner of the Philippines. I know you're a shooter. Your whole family shoots. We really appreciate what you're doing for us. And I'd like to excuse myself because I'm going to go to Spedesa because that involves me.
Thank you. Thank you, Martin.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mitch Sweetos? We're going to hear Mitch Sweetos first. Go ahead, Mitch.
Sir, good morning, sir. Sir, regarding po sa Akwan, sa shooting community, ang isang problema, sir, ng mga shooters ngayon, yung permit to transport for shooting competition. Kung po pwede sana, sir, yung mga RSUs, yung region, sir, pwede mag-issue, sir, ng PTT outside their area of responsibility. Kasi yun, sir, ngayon ang problema, sir, ng mga shooter, gustong pumutok, sir, ang authorized lang na PTT issued by RC issues within their area of responsibility. So how about those yung shooter sir na galing sa probinsya, tatawid sir sa ibang area, kailangan sir pupunta muna sir ng krame to apply permit to transport. Kung po pwede lang sana sir, why not na sir yung RC issues? Pwede sir mag-issue ng PTT outside their area of responsibilities. Para sa ganun sir, yung mga shooters, they can participate outside their area sir. Yan sir yung isang problema sir.
Thank you. Noted, Mitch, noted. Alam nyo, don't be offended sa PNP. Meron lang akong na-observe. Pumutok ako doon sa arms corps. Pumutok ako doon sa arms corps. Anong kwan yun? Anong parang legislators ka? Board, not the Pulcom. Yung una pa yung board member cup, yung League of Board Members of the Philippines. Oh, nandoon na mga shooters, ang dami. Maya, nagtataka ako. Bakit nawala yung mga shooters? Yung pala, may pulis nandoon sa loob, naninita ng mga papilis. Anyway, it's your job. Pero sana, parang hindi tayo lalabas na killjoy. Pumunta ng mga tao. Bumiyahe yan. Galing sa Baguio, galing sa Albay, galing sa kung saan lugar. Pumunta sa arms corps para mag-join ng competition. Pagdating doon, hanapan ng mga papilis nung mga taga CSG, EPO, CSG, RCSU. Para pa namang lalabas ang PNP na kontrabida. You can do your job you can check their papers in some other time or some other venues. Pero huwag naman doon sa competition na pumunta doon para pumutok. Tapos, para lalabas tayo na killjoy ba? Para bang naghahanap ka ng atraso doon sa lugar kung saan nag-enjoy yung mga tao dahil sa competition na yun. Baka pwede natin baguhin yung approach sa pag-check. Huwag naman doon sa competition. Baka, you know the drill, how to do it. Diba? Parang gano'n lang ako Hindi ko hindi ko kayo pino-fault dahil trabaho nyo yan, naintindihan ko yan. Trabaho natin yan. Pero ngayon na shooter ako, nandun ko sa loob, para bang iba ang dating. At sana maintindihan mo rin yung mga civilian shooters na talagang ang PNP parang killjoy man ito masyado. Ang layo ng biyahe ko para pumutok nito tapos ang daming hinahanap sa akin ng mga papel. Si Ma'am Gina muna.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Ma'am. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to take up a different topic right now. It's the topic of bulletproof vests and helmets. So, as a manufacturer and dealer, we are required to get import permits or even a license to manufacture, an import permit. And then when we sell, we have to register all the vests with the FEO every time we sell. However, bulletproof vests and helmets are all over Shopee and Lazada. And also, if you notice, like in Marawi, when it was a well-covered incident, all the media personalities there were wearing bulletproof and helmets. So, although it's not in RA 10591, in the IRR, it is covered that that's one of the licenses required. Maybe we can reconsider, since bulletproof vests and helmets are more to protect ourselves rather than offensive. It should no longer be regulated the way it currently is. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am. Noted. Kung mukhang overloaded na kayo dyan sa mga punto na nirelease nila, please take note, ha? I-take note yung lahat.
All noted, sir.
Thank you. Short lang. Pupunta ako siguro after you. See, yeah, short lang.
Mr. Chair, if I may, on the PTT, this may be a little controversial for you. However, I will be trying to lessen the administrative work of the PNP FEO with this. if we could put into the amendment of the law that you can travel with your registered and legal firearms from your home to the range for practice purpose or for competition purpose, as long as the firearms you are transporting is fully filled strip, it is placed in a lockable gun case and put in your trunk, and only be assembled when you are in the firing range. And when you leave the firing range, you do the same. Just to put away with the application of PPP. I think it would take a lot if a legal gun owner decides to use his legal firearm, go out of the house, disassembled, then stop where he plans to commit the crime, open his gun case, lock gun case, buuin niya yung baril niya, and then commit the crime. So I think siguro, sir, that would address the problems for shooters as well. Not only legal gun owners who want to go to the range to practice. Fully filled strip, magazine empty, bullets separate in 2 locked cases. Kapag nahuli po, gawin ko natin sigurong reclusion perpetua ang penalty.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Salamat po that suggestion. Kuha mo na. What's your name, sir?
Enrico Velasquez, sir, from One Gun Pilipinas, sir.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
In addition to what Mr. Medsito's statement about the PTT, sir, it is we suggest that we could extend it for 2 days. Most of the time, it is allowed only for a single application. It is only for 1 day, sir. So it is more practical that we allow it for 2 days. But a single payment, sir, of course, kung pwede sana isang bayad, 2 araw. So these newbie shooters could at least enjoy their newly purchased firearm when they go to the range. It is very impractical for us to go to the range and learn familiarize with our gun with only 1 day, Mr. Chair, sir.
Sa kanyang punto? Narinig niyo yung sinabi? Ako papunta ako sa competition, level 3. Hindi ko natapos ngayong araw na ito. Bukas, babalik na naman ako para tapusin ko yung competition. So, kung 1 day lang ibigay nyo sa akin, bukas hindi ko na matapos yung competition. Parang ganun. So, baka pwede, sabi nga, 1 application pero multiple days. Kung pa pwede. I-consider ninyo. 3 months?
Sir, 3 months is more better, sir.
We'll check that, sir. Dahil as of now, sir, sabi naman ng Chief FPO, it's 1 day to 15 days yung release nila. But kinakompute nila yung distance na puntahan. Pag malapit lang, sir, is 1 day. Pag malayo, it's 15 days. Parang ganun yung regulation na FPO doon. But for shooting competitions, we will consider that, sir. It's noted also. That means it's the intention na nag-apply na 5 days yung shooting competition niya. There's no problem naman, sir, in giving 5 days. That could be solved, sir.
Okay. Edwin muna, si Edwin. Yeah. Go ahead.
We have a lot of level 1, level 2, level 3 competitions in nationwide. Okay, and sometimes we have level 1, 3 or 4 level 1s in 1 weekend. Now, if you limit your PTT to just 1 venue, and the shooter wants to shoot all 3 level 1s in 1 weekend, paano naman siya? Diba? You'll have to get 3 PTTs. I think to address the RCSU problem of meds, as well as the 1 to 2 days, I think the best solution there is to go back to the 3-month any accredited PNP range. Now, if you want to do your ratio proportion, maybe I know it's a revenue source for the FEO, and we are realistic here. We're businessmen also. If you want to increase rates for the 3 months reasonably, I think the shooters will also be very willing to do that. That will eliminate all kinds of headaches of your operations as well, and you can still get your revenues.
I agree. I agree. Siguro tingnan niyo yung vote yan. You want to react? Go ahead, General Dilag.
Our purpose in providing the route is para hindi mapunta kung saan lugar, sir, yung baril. Kaya specific yung ruta nila. Now, for the other venues kung weekend, specify na lang niya yung ruta niya para mailagay namin, sir, sa PTT. Wala namang problema doon, sir. Ang ayaw lang namin, hindi namin maibigay yung 3 months kasi like for example, binipit niya sa isang lugar, hindi naman siya pupunta mag-shoot. And then he can just raise na I'm given 3 months PTT and yung pupuntahan ko naman going to that going to that range. So ma-justify niya yung pagdadala niya, parang sinuproceed na natin yung pagbibigay ng PTC4. Kaya nga sir, may PTC4 tayo for that.
After you, Ed, si Mr. Charles Rico.
Yes. Just to react again, the reason of the FEO, Mr. Chair, na baka saan-saan mapupunta. Again, sir, balik tayo. Magtiwala kayo sa binigyan nyo ng lisensya. Balik tayo po doon palagi na kami po yung binigyan nyo ng lisensya. You found me psychologically and good Filipino enough to give me an LTAP. I have no cases except for when, pero dismissed na siya, no? Clear na ako ngayon. So please, pagkatiwalaan nyo naman yung binigyan nyo ng lisensya.
Thank you.
Okay po, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you po.
Rico, then Mr. Atorrigo. Rico de Atorrigo.
All right. Thank you, Honorable Senate Chair. I would just like to make an observation regarding the pattern that we have been seeing recently with some of the PNP's memos. We have seen over here the memo being issued by the PNP recently about the barrel length restrictions of firearms that are not in RA 10591. I would like to wonder, I'm wondering why are we implementing, for example, barrel length restrictions? And I'm seeing a pattern over here in that the PNP right now seems to be patterning our gun laws with the gun laws of other nations. We see right now a restriction on semi-auto rifles. They did that recently in Canada. They banned semi-auto rifles there. We see here, for example, barrel length restrictions. Barrel length restrictions are patterned after the 1936 National Firearms Act of the United States of America. The Philippines is not America, and I think that the PNP shouldn't pattern our gun laws with that of the United States. We see over here Ms. Gina Tuason saying that there are some restrictions when it comes to body armor. Connecticut in the United States of America bans body armor and imposes all kinds of restrictions, even New York. And we are also seeing here a possible ban, or rather a study being made by the PNP about the restriction on hollow point ammunition. Hollow point ammunition is banned in New Jersey, in the United States of America. So my point here is that I hope that instead of making or introducing restrictions to Philippine gun owners who are law-abiding citizens, we should strive to make better gun laws, not gun laws that make us weaker. And if the PNP would be so obliged to please, maybe if they can refocus their efforts instead on cybersecurity, because the PNP database on firearms owners has recently been hacked. In fact, it's not the first time it's been hacked. It's been hacked a few times already. And as a gun owner, I feel like I'm the victim of not just hackers, but poor cybersecurity protocols. All of us here, gun owners, all of us, our data may have already been compromised, including you, Honorable Senate Chair, and even that of the President. So if I can just request the PNP to, instead of, doing all of these studies on banning hollow point ammunition, that we instead focus on cybersecurity protection to protect gun owners, instead of introducing restrictions that I honestly do not feel will reduce crime, like barrel length restrictions. Thank you.